all the daily routines you have to go through now. You've written your story about what you've both been through, Two for Joy, and it is the most beautiful read. All the sadness in there, and yet you have humour in there.
Thank you.
It's a really lovely read.
I think the humour was very important to us to make sure that came across.
Yes, and it really did, in the midst of all that sadness.
Yes.
Just tell me, when you first saw the twins, when they were born, what did you think? What went through your mind?
Our responses were quite different, actually, because we'd been given the news that there was only a 20% chance of them surviving. So, as a pragmatist, I thought they aren't going to survive. My job is to support Georgie. So, for me, connecting with them at the outset was actually very difficult. And Georgie didn't really have that luxury, having carried them for 4 months to that point. Yeah. She'd made her bond already.
Well, it's that visceral bond that a mum has, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just wanted to be there for them and be with them, and I never ever thought that they would not be with me, so I kind of never gave up.
You had been through so much. You know, all the IVF to conceive them in the first place, and then the blood that came out of you, to put it very graphically, when they were delivered. It's a wonder you're still here to tell the tale.
I know.
Really.
Well, I'm lucky. I am here, and I'm their mummy, and we just go with it. So.
Yeah. Because I know when you first saw them, you say you couldn't connect because you say what you saw there was a sort of two little creatures that look more like frogs than human beings. You put it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they're absolutely tiny, the size of my hand, and there was more machinery than there was baby. I think that was the shocking thing, and it was only the nurses had put tiny little stickers on their bonnets of ladybirds and things like this, and that was the only thing in the entire ward that reminded you this was a nursery.
Yeah. And very graphically, you say their nappy was so much bigger than them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their legs were literally the size of my little finger. They were minute.
Yeah. But you've moved on, and it is Two for Joy. Alice and Thomas bring you so much joy.
Yeah.
And in what ways, Georgie?
I think when you're faced with our situation and you get a diagnosis that your child has a disability, that's a massive shock, and you have to come to terms with that. But we've always tried to be really positive about the situation and to see the positives, not the negatives. And we just want them to have a really good life like any other child, because they deserve it. Yeah. You know, they've chosen to battle and to be here, and we feel we need to do the same with them.
Those pictures we saw at the beginning are just gorgeous. They seem like a really happy little pair.
Yeah, well, I've always said to myself every day, if I haven't made us all laugh and smile, then I haven't done my job, so.
And what was the extent of their disabilities then? What are they living with every day now?
So they have quadriplegic cerebral palsy, which were words which were pretty unfamiliar to us when they were first given to us, as you can imagine, but it means that they are entirely dependent on adult support for every aspect of daily living, whether that be bathing, dressing, feeding, etc. But they smile and they laugh and they love, which is actually quite a lot when you think about it.
Yeah, amazing.
But the condition, you know, is painful. It can be very uncomfortable for them, and every day they do have pain. But we manage that, and they manage it. And I think that's all they know, which sounds a bit strange, but it is what they know, and they cope with it.
And they're 12 now, are they?
They're 12, nearly 13 in a few weeks, so we're going into teenage years, which will be a new chapter.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe you can give us some tips.
I won't give you any of my tips because they haven't worked, as far as I'm concerned. But you seem to get so, you know, it says Two for Joy. What is the joy that they bring you?
I mean, it's hard to put into words because their achievements seem so small relative to other children's achievements. But just some examples. I mean, Tommy and I ran in our local 10K race together, and after we start at the back, me pushing him in his wheelchair. After a while, we start to take over people, and sometimes his arm kind of spasms, and he's smacking runners on their backsides as we go past. Things like with Alice, I've been tucking her into bed for 10 years and telling her I love her, and she hasn't been able to say those words back to me. And then suddenly, a few years ago, she managed to say those words back to me for the first time. And, you know, these moments are just enormous in the context of everything they've been through. So that's the reason for the joy, really. It's a wonderful experience to be their parent.
Wow. It's a wonderful experience to meet you.
Thank you.
Really lovely to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
It's lovely to be
Thanks
on.
very
Thank
much
you.
indeed. Thank you.